it obviously doesn't affect me as much now, but like when you're the only black person in the room, like you can feel it, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So, as you're saying, you kicked off in Liverpool. Obviously, you're Liverpool natives. You grew up there. So, what was the significance of playing your first album release show there?
Well, actually, it was our second album release show there, because our first one, The Cold Sun, we did our album release there. So to see the difference in like from then to now was crazy. And then also like just having friends who like were part of the scene years ago when I was in like my old bands and stuff, when we weren't really like, I don't know, when the scene wasn't, when not much was happening in the scene, like to see people who I was around, like chilling with around them times, be involved in this show now, and that show being like such a big, like I think it was nearly sold out. I think it was like how many people were in Liverpool? It was like 340, 350, something like that.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it was mad. And it was in like the smaller room in the O2, so it was packed. So like it was just proper mad to witness like that many people in one room for us. Like it was mad.
It's just kind of like a pivotal moment for your career.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah.
Well, I listened to the album and I fucking love it. I think it's really great. The thing I love the most about that album, I think something I've always appreciated about your band, is you're very conceptual in what you do. Like even when you started, there was the masks and like the stage names and everything. So what was the concept behind this album?
Honestly, with this album, it's not really much of a concept. It's kind of almost like we like to think of it as like a collection of stories from Loathe, but like they all don't follow. They're all not on like the same timeline, if that makes sense. It's kind of like if you've seen Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you know the way it's just like loads of different stories, but they all kind of like intertwine in the end and become one thing.
Yeah.
That's kind of the vibe with this one. But to be honest, we had a lot more like sentimental songs to us as opposed to like fictional stories. And it's like something we've not really done much of before, so yeah.
But then how do you go into the writing process of that, writing something conceptual? Because I know a lot of writers say that they take from personal experiences, so how do you take your personal experiences and put them into the bigger picture of the concept of the album?
I don't know, I think it's like a mixture of like, obviously, personal experiences and stuff, but then we watch a lot of like anime and like, like we take a lot of influence from like big movie scores and stuff like that, so like, I think it's just a mixture of finding that balance of like personal things we've been through, and then also mixing that up with all of our influences with like comics, anime, and all of that, and just like mashing it all up.
Are you a big comic fan?
More Eric than me. He's got like a full drawer in his house just filled with comics from when he was like younger.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
So he's been on the Marvel and DC movies.
Yeah, since day. Like yeah, literally.
Another acclaim to the album and the band is that you've always been, I'd say, genre divine. Like, this album it's not just one thing that you fit in a little box. It's very experimental and unique in its own way. How do you appease to the fans who like the heavier side of your music without gatekeeping, your creative adventures?
Honestly, like, with this album as well, it's probably one of the first times that we've, like, just been no holds barred and just, like, fully created what we want as opposed to like what people will expect of us. Because I feel like some people, like obviously after a first album as well, it can be very easy to get in that mindset of like, oh, what are people going to think if we do this? What are people going to think if we do that? And if you just get yourself into that loop, you're never really going to create what is true to you. So yeah, this is probably one of the first times we were just like, yo, we're going to just create what we feel in the moment there and then, as opposed to like, oh, the last album sounded like this, we got to do this now, do you know what I mean? So yeah.
I feel like as well, it's not, I say breakdown heavy, you guys have never just been about the breakdowns, but it's something a lot of people love about you because they are like fucking insane. Like, Aggressive Evolution is like, oh my god, when I heard that I thought I was going to fucking die in the best way possible. But how do you go in the production process, go from like a song like Screaming to a song like Aggressive, in the terms of like, how do you decide what the emotion of the song is going to be? Do you have songs where you're like, this needs to be a heavy song, or is it just kind of what the lyrics?
It depends really. Like, for example, like God was written once we showed one of our friends the album, and they were like, "Oh, it's sick," but like I felt, I don't know. Do you know when someone tells you something's good, but you can see that they're not like fully like?
Yeah.
And in that moment, me and Eric were like, "Yo, we need to fucking write." Sorry, swearing. We need to write their heaviest thing. And like I guess in situations like that it can happen. Also with but at the same time, there's other times when it just happens. Like with Red Room, that was kind of like with the instrumental. With that, it was just a vibe between me and Eric, and at the time, there and then, the moment, we just came up with that. And then afterwards, we recorded the vocals in my friend's house called my friend Kevin. We recorded the vocals there, and he has like 8 Rottweilers. Oh. And he was like, he left us to take care of the dogs while he went out. And Faisal was like terrified because he was the one recording the vocals. Faisal was terrified, and like literally while I'm doing them vocal takes, there's a Rottweiler literally like staring us down. So like it kind of added to the feel of the song. The intensity
of it all. Like, you're gonna get killed by a Rottweiler.
Yeah, literally.
Fun. So as I mentioned, you guys grew up in Liverpool, which it isn't as known for its heavy metal scene as it's known for other things. So what was it like, kind of growing outside of Liverpool, going to other cities and other countries where heavy metal is a really big thing? What was the experience with that?
It's mad. Like only bands that were really about when I was like 16, 17, going to shows, and that would like. Don't know if you ever heard of a band called Carter City. Yeah. Yeah, amazing band. They were about, obviously, there's this other band called Chasing the Legion, R and Balance, what's the other band's name? It's Harry Rule's old band, and he's on our tour right now. He's in God Complex. Anti-Hero, yeah, they were a sick band. So yeah, they were a fair few, like, but not like nowhere near as much as like Manchester, like Leeds, anywhere like that, because they always get the sickest shows. But going to like Europe and stuff like that and seeing how much they appreciate heavy music compared to the UK is like mind blowing. Like it's just so sick. There's like so much passion for, like, people have so much passion for live music over there, which is like unlike anywhere else. Same with Japan as well. Like
Japan goes hard.
Yeah, Japan goes hard. Like,
but speaking of Liverpool, you guys grew up there, and I feel like it's known for its forward thinking. So it's one of the few cities in the UK to ban the Sun newspaper.
Yeah.
It's also like a Labour hold majority. So what was it like growing up in that atmosphere? Did you feel like it had any impact on?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like Liverpool's a very like grassroots place, and everything's like very DIY. There's a lot of like independent shops, and it's just kind of like in a way part of the culture. And I feel like that influenced us as a band a lot, like in terms of even like stage show. Like when we first started, we were using bed sheets. We put bed sheets over the cabs and painted them. We used to have like these symbols from like our first EP, and we just like literally got white bed sheets painted over them. Then we had 2 people on stage with us wearing pillowcases over the head with all black paint all over it, and it was ghetto, but it looked sick. You know what I mean? Like it was a vibe. Like, so I definitely think like stuff like, even stuff like just putting last minute shows on and stuff like that, like it's like we obviously now we could probably do that in other cities, but to begin with there was nowhere else we could really do that, and just know someone who would be able to sort out a venue for us, then sort out a PA type thing, and then like make it happen type like vibe. But yeah, it's
very DIY.
Yeah, very, very DIY. Yeah.
Awesome. So as it's Black History Month, and because I'm a woman of colour, I thought it was important to ask this question. So I know metal isn't just for white people. Like, there's been so many prominent, like, black and people of colour in rock and metal, but I do feel like there is a white majority presence in it.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
But in the sense of how have you navigated growing up as someone who's been into this music scene, especially in like a area that isn't prominently known for heavy metal? How have you grown up and not seen people like yourself in music and still got into it, like, I can do this even though everybody else is white and doesn't look like me?
Honestly, I will be honest, like, it's a thing. You can feel it in the room. Like, it obviously doesn't affect me as much now, but like when you're the only black person in the room, like, you can feel it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like like fully, like, I don't know, as times went on, like, I'm lucky enough to have like very, very like just amazing friends who will make me feel comfortable anywhere. And I feel like that obviously is a big part of me feeling like I can go to whatever gig. And then obviously, you know, when you do see another person of colour at a gig, you instantly make that connection, do you know what I mean? Like, for example, my really good friend Josh, who's on our tour now, we met through him coming to one of our gigs. I was like, yo, sick, another brown person at a show, sick. And then he ended up doing a cover of one of our songs for like this competition to win a drum kit. And he was wearing a Loathe long sleeve in it, and I was like, yo, sick. So then we just started like getting onto each other, talking loads, and now he's our merch guy. yeah. So he's like on this tour as well. Like, he's been about with us. But big up to Josh, because he's actually smashing it now. He did when we did the tour with Straight from the Path.
Oh, I was there. I got this shirt there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Sick. Yeah, no, Craig Reynolds, their drummer, didn't have a drum tech for that tour. And I think it was like the second show of the tour. Josh just went over to him and was like, yo, why don't you have a drum tech? And he was like, oh, you know, I don't know, man, just not like had time to sort it or whatever. And then Josh was like, yo, give me a bunk on this tour and I'll do it for you for free.
Shit. Are there any black musicians in rock and metal right now that you like idolise or think are really great?
Yeah. Nova Twins, definitely, for sure. They're amazing. Saw them at the Heavy Music Awards for the first time. Like, probably blew me away. Who else? Obviously, yeah, FIFA 333. Loathe, Cam, drummer. I think who else? Obviously, not metal like, but Neck Deep.
Yeah.
Like, I'm really
Danny.
good friends with Danny, and like he's another person who I'd see when I was younger. We were going to shows and that, and like we just get onto each other because we were the only other brown people in the room type thing. Who else? Damn. Oh, I feel bad now. I feel like I'm gonna miss someone out and then like remember afterwards.
Anyway, you've had some milestone performances and gigs. Are there any that stick out as like the, oh shit, we fucking made it, like this is it?
Most definitely the Liverpool show, because that was the day that the album came out, and it was a conversation I had with Eric that day, was saying like, I feel like I've been in like a deep sleep the whole like album process, and like because the music's not out and everything's still getting done underneath, like under the behind the scenes or whatever, it didn't really feel like anything was happening, and all the like progress or whatever that the band was getting doing or whatever, like it didn't really feel real because we hadn't released anything. Whereas when it came to the album release show, it honestly felt like I'd woke up for the first time in years and I was like, yo, we've done so much past few years. And I feel like that was the night that like I could fully just reap the benefits of it and bask in it, if that makes sense, because like we've had the album on our back for so long and like finally it's out and
feels great.
Yeah.
So music is in such a strange place right now. You know, you've got the likes of like fucking Billie Eilish and Poppy just storming through the charts.
For the previous question before, I also forgot Scarlord.
Yeah. Oh my god, that's really bad. He's from Birmingham. I'm from Birmingham. That's bad. I feel like I betrayed it. I'm sorry, Scarlord. Yeah, but people like Scarlord as well, who are taking over the charts and doing like something that's different and in your face and weird. So I wanted to ask, you know, I know you did the split EP with Holding Absence like a few years back, but is there any artist outside of metal and alternative music that you would love to collaborate with?
I'd absolutely love to have Scarlord on a song. That would be amazing. I'm trying to think. I'd love to do a song with Flying Lotus.
Oh my god, yes.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Like even to do like an album where it's just like mad instrumentals, that would be so sick.
So to finalise, in 2020, what are Loathe offering to the world? That feels like a generic question, I know, but like, anyway.
Everything. Like it's gonna be probably one of the busiest years we've ever had. So just expect to be seeing us everywhere. And I'd like just. Yeah, just sharing the album and that in it. Like I don't know, it's been so long since like we've released an album. I'm like almost forgetting like
what it's like.
Yeah.
Is the tour killing you yet?
Nah, it's not. Honestly, do you know what? We had a bit of the first 2 days of the tour. No one had any sleep because we were figuring out like stuff to do with our rig and like just like the whole production side of like the live set and everything. So the first 2-3 days were like a bit rocky. But now everyone's had good sleep and that, so
you all feel good?
Yeah, we feel good.
Awesome, well that's it. Thank you for joining me. And make sure you go listen to Loathe's new album. I'll leave the link in the description. Bye, have a great day.
Take care.
Yeah.